The reading for today is John 8:7. Let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. What is original sin? The 12-year-old asked her grandfather. He replied, it is something we all have in common. It is one of the things that holds us together. Grandfather's definition of original sin was a way of saying what Jesus had in mind when he said, let anyone among you who is without sin be the first to throw a stone at her. Jesus understood the destructive consequences of adultery just as much as the scribes and Pharisees. But when Jesus zeroed in on sin, it was not just the obvious sins that caught his attention. Hard-heartedness is also a sin, because in its rush to condemn, it does not hear the message of mercy and forgiveness from the Savior. Jesus' parting words to the woman, neither do I condemn you, are a reminder of just how forgiving is the God whom we meet in the Bible. Moving forward, do you have a Judas place in your heart? How does Jesus come and meet you in that place? The devotional for today is actually one from the archives of Forward Day by Day from December 30th, 1996. Forward Movement is celebrating their 85th anniversary this year, and each Thursday they are reprinting devotionals from the past. I hope you found today's meaningful, and you can also find a contemporary copy of the devotional online. But the devotional talks about sin. Sin. Unless you're watching a rerun of Saturday Night Live Church Chat with the infamous church lady, the sound of sin makes most of us tense up and a bit uncomfortable. In her book, Speaking of Sin, Episcopal priest and author Barbara Brown Taylor includes sin in a list of words that people just don't talk about anymore. She says that our prayers and conversations, we prefer to go straight to grace. And there is certainly a powerful and transformative hope and promise in knowing and claiming the abundance of God's grace. And that can be important in bringing about healing and wholeness. But there's also healing and wholeness that comes from acknowledging our brokenness and our need for forgiveness. The reconciliation of the penitent is found in our prayer books beginning on page 447. It is a beautiful rite that provides an opportunity to acknowledge our sinfulness and also to hear words of forgiveness. The rite is available to all who desire it and is not restricted to times of sickness. My first experience with the rite of penitence came when I was a student in seminary. Many of you know that I grew up in a denomination that did not offer an avenue of confession or reconciliation to another party. But when I entered seminary, I began to hear the advice that before I heard a confession, it would be good for me to make one. And so I did. I will never forget that day and that experience. It was truly one of the transformative moments in my seminary journey. A moment when I experienced God's grace and God's love, and a day that I was reminded of God's abundant love and mercy for me. Today, remember too that you are loved. God bless you.